Happy December, everyone. Welcome to our year-end meetup for South Asian Success and our CS Talent Outlook with the authors of the CS Talent Playbook. I'm so excited to have Swati, Elizabeth, Asia May, Julie, and Kristen here. And in kind of a new format for us, I get to interview them, which is kind of fun today. But also for those here, I want to definitely reserve time for you to ask your questions of the group. So we will have plenty of time for that today. I do have a cold. I'm probably going to be coughing in the middle of this. It sounds worse than it is. So I'll just put that out there. It's really not too bad. I'm at the tail end now. Um, well, as I said, it's December, which is crazy. So we did a little kind of look back, and that's really what today's about. Just a reminder on a couple of our logistics. If you wouldn't mind keeping your microphone muted, we do put our videos on YouTube, so it just helps with background noise. If you have a question, you can use the chat. You can wait to the end. Since we are a smaller group, you can also, raise your hand, chime in. We have kind of different opportunities where we'll take a pause. Be engaged. We do want to hear from folks. And then, as you all know, we put our videos on YouTube so that they're visible across the globe to anyone that needs them. And our agenda for the year, we're going to do a quick recap of the year. I looked back on the year and I was honestly like, oh my gosh, we did a lot this year. And we also had our first ever mentorship program that Kirti ran. I don't know how many, only a couple of our mentorship folks are on the call, but I think it'll be really nice to get to recognize some of our mentorship winners as well. And then we're going to get into setting yourself up for success in 2026 and beyond with the CS Talent Author crew. So kind of wanted to take a little sort of I don't know if it's a twist, but take a different lens on how the book was written and thinking about how can you better plan for the year ahead, the years ahead, right? Customers, whether you're in customer success, whether you're in revenue, whether you're in an adjacent function, what are things that we could look forward to as we're thinking about the ever-changing landscape that we are in? So that is kind of the plan for today. Reminder about South Asian Success. We are a collaborative space where customer success and revenue professionals who identify as South Asian can celebrate our shared culture, learn and grow together, and drive diversity in thought and practice for our workplaces. We're a global community. We are online and sometimes in person. I don't know why it says in future. I need to change that slide because we have done some live events in the last 2 years, which we're very excited about. I'm really hoping in 2026 to get to do more live events with everyone and meet people because it's just wonderful when we get to do that. South Asian Success is sponsored by Customer X Success, which is my company, which is a customer success consultancy, and you can find out more about it at the link there. I couldn't even, whoa, I'm sad to say this. My slide got messed up, you guys. I don't know what happened. I'm going to have to refresh this slide at some point and bring it up for everyone and put it on a LinkedIn post or something. We had a lot going on this year. There are some critical people missing from this slide, unfortunately. I don't know why, Canva error. But we had an awesome year. We actually did, I think I counted 18 different types of events this year. And that was not our objective starting the year. We were just going to try to do things that people needed to start the year. And we changed up our format a little bit, bringing in folks that, had sort of high impact areas that our community could be supported. And maybe folks that globally aren't as easy to work with, right? Like you don't necessarily have, the same ability to connect with some folks. So we had a really great year. It was awesome. Asia May was one of our speakers as well. And so we're happy to have her back. A couple of the people missing here are Bhumika Arora. He talked to us about her journey to entrepreneurship. And then the last one is actually today's. So that's the last slide that's not shown here, which is unfortunate because it looked really cool altogether. But if you do want to ever revisit any of this content, it all lives in YouTube. It's available. And you can go back and revisit it and find nuggets from all these wonderful, wonderful speakers that we had this year. We also did a couple of live events. So Rohan hosted a Toronto live meetup we were able to do a live meetup in New York with a cross collaboration between several different CS communities, which was honestly one of my favorite events of the year, just because I'm biased in that way. We had a couple of focused chai chats this year. We did our annual Women's Day chai chat, and then we've had just some community time, right? And I think time for people to get to know each other, talk about what we're working on in 2026 and other topics of the day. Our chai chats, if people don't know, they've been small but mighty. We've had great career connections that come out of the chai chats, so I'm very proud of that. And then we did have some partner events as well with some partners outside of the community, such as Sheena Yap-Chan, who wrote Bridging the Confidence Gap, and then Akriti Babaria from Culture Kazana, who makes cultural toys for kids. So some kind of fun, different things that we did here. And I love to see the chats, by the way. Please keep dropping them in. And yes, Elizabeth, I'd love to have a live chai chat here in Chicago someday. So maybe we can even have that happen and go to a chai spot. That would be really fun. So it was a wonderful year. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you to all the speakers. Thank you to all the steering committee. I didn't even include on here, and I feel bad about this now at the moment, you guys. We had our amazing content team also writing blog content. So thank you guys for all the efforts because I couldn't, none of this could have been done without the community, the amazing CS community that we have. So thank you all. And hopefully we have an excellent year next year. We have some things to look forward to, and we'll be talking more about that later this year, early into next year. I'm going to shift over to mentorship. Kirti, would you like to take a little time and talk about the mentorship program? Because I know this was something that you spearheaded and took on a lot of a great effort for.
Yeah, thanks, Parul. Feel free to, continue on. I think you're on a roll. And if there's anything to add, I'm happy to jump in.
Okay, sure. So this year, Kirti came forward on the steering committee for the first year, and she said, I wanted to try to do a mentorship program. Believe it or not, it was one of the first things I wanted to do with South Asian Success when we launched it. Never got to do it. So this year we actually put it together. We launched in May. We gave people 3 months to sign up, a long time to sign up. And then we launched our first ever global mentorship program from September till November. It was really cool because we had people meeting matches literally from different countries. So that was one thing that I thought was very beneficial. We also had people with different skill sets and different needs coming to the table and meeting up. I know some folks here were mentors or mentees, and thank you for completing our survey as well. But I generally got the sense that the experience was very rich. I will say it's not easy to run a mentorship program, right? Because it is something that typically takes a lot of effort. And so I have to say thank you to Kirti because she really led the charge on getting all the logistics together. So thank you for doing that, Kirti. We also added something cool to the mentorship program. I've heard in the past from mentees or mentors that like people don't often show up to mentorship, which is a really unfortunate thing, but I think we know people get busy. So what we did this year is we introduced the concept of how can we not only just encourage our mentors and our mentees, but how can we also incentivize them a little bit. So we reached out to some of our amazing CS community vendors, including actually Swati and Kristen, who happened to be on the call. And we asked them, would you be willing to provide a prize for our mentorship program so that we could actually incentivize our folks that are doing the work, that are meeting every month, and that are actually showing up. So thank you guys for being part of that. And we had 3 excellent amazing prizes. So we had a coaching for a mentor-mentee pair with Bhumika Arora from Rough Day. We had the Success League, access to a course. Kristen has kind of kept it a little open-ended, and you could reach out to her more about this, but she has multiple different course options that she offered us. The value is very high on these, so thank you, Kristen, for that. I wanted to call that out. So one person will be winning access to her course. And then the Milo Associates team, Swati has generously given resume review sessions for a pair of mentor-mentee matches as well. So I'm really excited to share the folks that made it through to the end and that were able to be our winners. So Julie and Preeth, you are winning coaching from Rough Day, and I'll be emailing you all to let everyone know who's actually won as well. And then Tanya Nair, you have won access to the Success League course. I'm excited because I got to work with Tanya actually. So, and then for Boomy and Knuckle got to win the resume review session. And Swati wrote also in the chat here that for Mila Associates, it's a 30-minute coaching call per person. You can talk about anything you want. It doesn't have to be resume review. It can be talking about resumes, LinkedIn, work, market, other things like that too. So I feel very, very, again, grateful that we had a successful first mentorship program, that we even had incentives to give, and that we are able to do something really special for our community. So hopefully this will also encourage future folks that want to join us in this journey. We'll be sending out emails, how to connect with these folks and everything like that coming up. Okay, and we're going to now move on to something that I'm really excited to talk about. So we're going to talk about talent in 2026 with our CS Talent Authors team. If you stay till the end, we are also going to be giving away a copy. I lasted until now. We're giving away a free signed copy, signed by all 6 authors of this book. I will be notifying one lucky winner from our Zoom group of of attendees. So stay to the end to receive that. Just give me 1 second. It's not ideal to host a webinar when you have a cold. All right, so we're going to jump right in, and we are going to talk a little bit about our guests. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask each of our guests here, Swati, Elizabeth, Ajame, Julie, and Kristen, to please go around and introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about your section. This doesn't have to be very long. We're going to dive into some questions here. So, just give us a quick overview of your section for those that might not know about it. Swati, would you like to start?
Oh, yes. Sorry, I wasn't sure if we were just going in.
Yeah, we just go in the order that we go in.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, hi everyone. I'm Swati. Nice to meet you all. If we haven't met already, I'm the CEO of Mila Associates. We focus on revenue recruitment with a big focus in customer success and post-sales roles, all levels in North America. I've been doing this for about 9 years now. My section is about recruitment and job search. So, I'll talk more about the book, but every section is from both perspectives, the hiring manager's perspective and the candidate perspective. So it's really just about how to approach your job search, how to negotiate well, how to make sure you're putting your best foot forward, how to prep, and how to just get the most success in the most efficient way. And then on the job search side and on the hiring side, it's really just also same thing, but like making sure you're preparing for getting the right candidate, right? Making sure everyone's aligned, making sure you know what you need, and then having a really positive candidate experience. So really on the hiring side, about having a really positive candidate experience and how to deliver that. And then on the job search side, how to advocate for yourself and set yourself up for success. So that's what my section's about.
Awesome. I'm not planned to be interviewed, but I'm just going to say my section is section 2, and it focuses on titles and salary, but it really focuses on, I'd say, the history of customer success, why it is important to consider titles and salary as we are one of the newer functions in tech. We have kind of just been evolving. And so I sort of dive into a little bit of, some of the background and then some strategies to help either create titles and salaries for your team, or when you are job hunting, assess which titles and salaries are actually appropriate for the work that you're doing. So that's a little bit about my section.
Hi, Elizabeth Bloss here. I am Chief Customer Officer for a company called Carbon. It's with a K. My sections are all about career development, career progression. So if you look at the chapters in the book, they walk through all the way from entry level CSM all the way up to Chief Customer Officer. the skills you need to get the job, what you can expect to learn while you're in the role, and then growth areas to get you to the next role. So it's great if you are looking to plan out your own career. It's also helpful if you are a leader, kind of building out teams as well. So it's the whole guide for you right there in the book.
All right, I'll go next. Hi, everyone. My name's Asia May Aramaselli. So glad to be back with the South Asian Success team. As Paro mentioned, we did a webinar earlier this year, and so great to see everything that you all have accomplished this year. Really proud of everything you guys have done. So yeah, by day, I run customer growth for a company called Quick. We help connect our customers with their customers on digital messaging and using AI so that we can create better customer experiences. I guess that's been the arc of my career, is really thinking about how customer experience can drive growth for companies. Spent many years being a management consultant and then ran customer experience for the New York Times. I also founded a community called Success in Black to elevate topics around diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging in customer success. And finally, my section in the book is around fit. So, how do we think about, from a candidate perspective, but also an employer perspective, how do we break down the different components of fit to make sure that we are hiring for the best talent, but also that we're positioning ourselves to be, adding value to roles and to organizations. So really excited to dig into that topic in the discussion later.
All right, I am Julie Fox. I am a customer success leader that has experience building and growing CS teams, as well as kind of a passion around, and I guess maybe even an obsession around scaling and digital CS. And throughout my career, I've taken a lot of unexpected turns in my career, different career changes, layoffs, major transitions and transformations. And the one thing that's really kind of helped me through all of that as I've kind of grown in my career has really been the CS community and people. And that's what my section's all about. It's all about networking, community, and branding, and kind of that real practical version of what opens doors, what helps build confidence, but also what helps people navigate through these different career transitions, whether that is changing careers or just kind of growing in your career. So my section, my chapters, both from the different perspectives, are all about how to show up, how to get known, and if you are a hiring manager, how to also lean into the community and networking in order to help build really effective, really impactful teams.
Hi, I'm Kristen Hayer. I'm the CEO of the Success League. Our company is a training and coaching firm that is focused on working with organizations that need to build really top performing account management, customer experience, customer success folks on their team. And of course, my part of the book is all about training. And so, if you're thinking about each of us wrote a section that's related to candidates or job seekers and also related to companies and leaders. The company and leader part of my chapter is really all about how leaders in this field can help to make sure that their teams have a very comprehensive training path, both initially when they join the organization and on an ongoing basis, so that they continue to grow and develop, and so that you and your team can have a growth mindset, which really has been proven to create top performance in terms of companies that embrace that kind of approach. From a candidate standpoint, it's really how you can take ownership of your own education and make sure that regardless of the company you're working for, you have an opportunity to grow your career effectively.
Awesome. Thank you all. Okay, I'm going to unshare so we can have our conversation now. And so our topic is looking ahead at the state of talent in 2026 and beyond. I mean, let's just focus on 2026 because beyond is even more kind of a bigger question. So I want to start. Actually, I'm going to start with a question for Swati. Swati, obviously the biggest topic of the day is AI, right? So how do you see AI and automation reshaping what success and what talent looks like in 2026?
Thank you for the question, Barl. It's changing the day to day, right? So we talk about this a lot. So from a CSM perspective, a lot of people have been coming up to me. It's like, what about the entry level folks? Like, what are they going to do? Like with AI, like all these entry level jobs are going away. And I find that question so interesting because we've always had technology change, right? Like we used to have like the phone booth, right? Like we used to like look in encyclopedias, and now we have internet, and then we got internet, and now we have AI, right? So it's not like entry level jobs ever went away; they just changed. We have new entry level jobs, right? And people need to level up. And I think with AI, so when it comes to specifically to like the CSM role or the talent success role, it's super fascinating because I think it's just people who are going to want to learn AI, and we've all talked about this, who are AI curious, who want to be AI fluent, they're just going to be better at their jobs, right? They're going to move faster when it comes to the things that are very time consuming right now, and they're going to be able to spend more time with customers. They're going to get better results. Like, I think it's just going to really change the day to day, right? I don't think I do think there might be like an AI CSM focus, which is going to completely maybe change maybe the digital and scaled role, right? Like with adding AI and automation there. But I really think it's just really going to change the day to day of success talent. I don't think it's going to, and then when it comes to like the CSM role, I think it's just going to level up like what entry level looks like, just like every other technology boom we've had faced. So I know that wasn't exactly the question, but I felt like that was really kind of related to how success talent's going to change and look like in the future.
Sorry, my mute did not want to unmute just now. Well, okay, so yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And obviously we all are hearing the more that people embrace, the better they're going to get at their job, or they're going to be more competitive, right? So let me ask you, Elizabeth, what new skills are you going to need to have as a CSM? Or like, how does the skill building progress plan change for 2026? What are you adding to your team's, skills needed? I would love to know.
Yeah, and I will answer that, but I will also say, because I always have to reinforce that it's always been important, and also it's never been more important to own your own path. And so I always like to, tell my team as well, if you're waiting for me to have the career conversation, I mean, I probably will because I'm super passionate about it, but it's a two-way street. You have to come to your manager and be prepared to have those conversations because it really is mutually owned. So own your path and kind of create your own momentum in your career. And so I think with skills, you have to really know your strengths, your gaps, and then also your company priorities. And so I think value can kind of shift internally or with your customers. I mean, you name it, right? The environment is shifting really quickly. And so to know your strengths, your gaps, and your company's priorities allows you to voluntarily take on initiatives that matter. And I always hesitate to say that because everyone's busy, right? Especially the life and CS, no matter what level you're at, like it's extra, especially this time of year, kind of chaotic. It's just busy. But that is something that I always did in my career all the way, identify a need and then volunteer to kind of take on that initiative and drive it because you can build skills while doing that. And so I think that's a really important perspective, or just awareness around making the time for that, because it does create that visibility, as I said, credibility, and that's a body of work that travels with you, right? I mean, especially in this day and age. Julie kind of alluded to this too. You're not likely to be with the same company for years and years and years, right? It's just there's a lot going on in our environment. And if you're volunteering for initiatives to build your skills, that does go with you. Even if your company changes, that's something that you can reflect on and take wherever you go next and continue building on. So maybe I'll leave it there, Parl.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. I mean, like, I used to call it side gigs for my teams because I'm like, there are always things to learn, and like, you can learn for the team. You can be the admin for the team, you can be the team leader and help also with adoption if you do choose to take on a little bit of extra learning. And obviously, it's hard to say that, everybody's busy, but if you don't do learning, if you're not taking time to learn, you probably are going to unfortunately fall a little bit behind, right? So that is just the reality. You were just talking about a little bit of like job changes, right? And people who might actually be displaced. And so for Julie and HMA, I kind of have want to talk to you both about that. First, I'm going to go to Julie. So Julie, if someone is navigating a change or a layoff or something right now, what would be some advice that you would give them in this new landscape, right? Like,
Yeah.
what have you heard from kind of the network and the community?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I'd say, and I say this in the book, but this is just something that I've lived myself. When you're going through a layoff, it's a very isolating time. You go from being consumed in your day-to-day work and constantly checking Slack and your email and all of the different things and being so busy to having a very different type of schedule. And so I think leaning into the community and kind of navigating that and making sure that you don't have to do this alone. This is not something that you have to navigate on your own. So the more that you can lean into your communities and your network, whether that's for opportunities, and obviously that can be very beneficial, but also just from like the human aspect of like having people that you're connecting with on a regular basis that you're checking in with, and that you're helping other people as well as them helping you. As far as kind of, I think, navigating these changes, one thing that I'll point out, I've been through a number of layoffs or kind of org changes throughout my career, both on like where I've been impacted, but also where my teams have been impacted. Um, One thing that I do want to make sure to share with people, just because I know this is a very sensitive time for people, is that oftentimes what I have found is that change really brings a certain sense of clarity, whether that is giving you an opportunity to pause and be like, what do I want to do? What vertical, what do I like about my role? What do I not like? Like, it gives you a chance to pause and really reflect. And so taking the time to do that, I think, is really beneficial. And you can do that on your own, or you can do that through like navigating with other people or coaches that can help you through that. But truly, any change that I've navigated, I look back on it and know that, like, okay, this all got me to where I am now. And I can always look back, and obviously hindsight's 2020, but I'm full of gratitude for the different experiences, even the layoffs that I've been through, because each of those experiences gave me an opportunity to pause, reflect, and kind of take my career in the direction that I wanted to. And it's something I just recently went through kind of another career change. And this time around, it felt a lot different because over the years, as I've leaned more into the community and as I've gone through these experiences, I had a very different sense of almost like calm confidence through it, that I went into it knowing almost immediately, best thing that could have happened. This is going to lead me to something better. And I need to pour my energy into my future versus kind of taking like a different approach that I'd taken previously. And so I think that's something that I urge you guys to do if you're navigating a change right now, is just to take that time for yourself and know that like there's going to be good that is going to come out of it. Not to diminish the hardness that is the moment, because it is hard, but know that the work that you're putting in, that it will pay off, and that you will have that moment in the future where you'll be able to reflect on this with a lot of gratitude that it helped you get to wherever you're going to be next.
Yeah, I love to hear that. I mean, I think it's unfortunately there is that like frazzled kind of feeling when you are displaced or out of a role, right? And the things that you've been doing, that the way you describe that, like I think many of us can relate if you've ever gone through it. It is a weird, sentiment, but when you are able to find kind of what you really need, and that's where like I think your section is really important, is like when you are maybe the fit was wasn't always right, right? And even if it was the company that you wanted to work at forever, there's going to be another place for you too, right? And there's going to be ways to find that. So I guess Asia, for you is like you're probably hearing from a lot of people too, navigating change is challenging. Now all of a sudden, first we said CS, you gotta be commercial. Now you gotta be this. Oh, now you gotta adopt all the AI. What does finding fit look like? How does that fit framework change in the times that we're in?
Yeah. First, I just want to say, like, I'm so inspired, and so I admire Julie's like perseverance and just like your leadership through the changes that you've had. I've borne witness a little bit with kind of us working together, but yeah, just super proud of you and excited for your next journey. Yeah, and to answer your question, Parul, yeah, it's a really challenging time. I think the themes that, we all are hitting on is that, change is the only constant, like we've heard of that, but now more than ever, the pace at which technology is changing, the world is changing, it's even more relevant. And I think fit is the thing that is not static, right? So I didn't actually put this in my chapter or in my section, but I think that that's the thing that's the most interesting about when we think about fit is that it's dynamic. It changes and it moves by the organization, the role, external and internal factors. And I think what I want to leave folks with is the fact that as employees, we have agency in evaluating and reevaluating, how well we fit within a particular role that, we started off doing, an organization that could be changing as well. I'm especially thinking about it now because it is our own review season, and I have 6 reviews I need to do. I'm doing my review with my boss. And so, really, having an honest conversation for my team, are these still the right roles? How do we change the role a bit more to accommodate for things like AI? How do we accommodate for things like where we're headed as an organization? But as someone who's doing my own review for my boss, that's something I'm having to think about as well is, do I have the right skills and the right competencies for where our organization is headed? Do I even want to do the things that my JD currently has? And so I think what I'll leave folks with is we all have agency um, to think about that and to sort of do the work that's required. I think now's a good time. We're all in a reflective mindset. Think about the job to be done in your role, but where the organization is headed and how you think you can bring the best value. And so, the FIT framework has those 3 dimensions. One is the competency and the skills of the specific role and the job to be done. The other is around the team and the maturity of your customer success organization. Do you have the processes and tools already in place, or are you still building them, or are you reevaluating them, right? And then the last one is around, the company and, the broader concept of culture fit, right? How does the organization make decisions? And, is it aligned with how you like to work and how you like to be rewarded? So, those 3 dimensions I think can be applicable to if you're a candidate looking for a new role, but also if you are in an existing role and it's time to do performance reviews and evaluations and to see where you can continue to add value to your organization or maybe rethink what that value is going to look like for the next year. So, I think what I'll leave people with is that, this is not static. It's meant to evolve and it's meant to kind of change over time as well. And you have agency in that process. That's something I'm reminding myself too. I'm actually share a little bit. I'm debating whether or not to take on the customer success organization again. So when I moved back to the States from London, I could take my old job, which was customer success and account management, or just take account management. And, account management was a challenge to really be tackled because it's more directly revenue facing, right? So my team owns renewals and expansions. So I was like, I'll leave customer success alone for a little bit. But now I'm like, maybe I want the CSM org again. So that's something, even as, I think about where I fit in the organization, where I can really add value, something that I'm reevaluating for myself. So just a real life life example.
Yeah, I love that. And while you were talking, I literally was like thinking about, oh, wow, all of our journeys are like that. The fit does change. It has been kind of a fluid thing, right?
Yeah.
And even personal stuff will come in and make fit look different, right? So it's like, it's so interesting. I didn't even think of that when I asked you the question. So thank you for that answer.
Good question. It was a good one.
Okay, so Kristen, I'm gonna ask you a question, but I'm going to kind of phrase a little bit differently than kind of we had thought about initially. First, we were saying, like, how can CS leaders better train their teams? But I think I also want to take stock of our audience too and say, like, hey, how can CSMs better train themselves? Like, if they don't have a leader that can do it, what are some training options to help us, like, get over the hump? And what are some things that people could do to get even prepared in a month for 2026?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is planning time, right? So, this is also, though, a time where often we have, in some cases, a week between Christmas and New Year where we've got some downtime, maybe. Um, it's a great time to be. So, I'll talk both in terms of leaders, but also in terms of a CS professional. I think one of the things that is so critical this year is pointing back to what Swathi talked about at the beginning, which is AI. Um, and there are people on most teams who sort of are moving toward AI and are really excited about it. And there are other people on teams that are moving away from it and are a little scared of it. And I think if you're the leader, you cannot let your team avoid it. You need to push them. You need to, if you have people who are resistors, you really need to be having conversations with them about AI and what it means for them and how that's going to be critical for their career path going forward. If you are a CS professional, you need to move toward AI. You need to get in there, play with it. There are lots of free AI tools out there right now, so there's no excuse like it costs money. It's just getting in there and trying things and experimenting a little bit. And I think that's one of the best ways you can learn. But if you're a leader, you can also start to even in the next month, give your team a few exercises related to AI, have them look something up, have them plan something, and have them build something. And if you can do those three things, you're a lot further along on your AI journey. Um, I think it's also really important as leaders to reinforce what we consider established skills on our team. I think that I'm seeing a lot of CSMs who sort of get a few years in and don't think they have anything more to learn. And the reality, if you're a leader, is that everyone always has more to learn. And so I think it's a good time in the environment that we're in currently, economically and socially, to revisit some of those skills that you might have assumed are established, because a lot of times those decay over time. Things like great communication skills or selling skills, kind of the basics of our function. I would revisit those because we cannot afford to have slip ups right now on our teams. If you're a CS professional, take a learning mindset toward your entire job and really be honest with yourself about, um, where are you strong and where are you weak, and work on shoring up those areas of weakness, even if they're sort of basics. Look to your manager, look to your team to see how you can become better in those areas. And then I think it's really important from a learning standpoint for leaders to emphasize practice, um, role playing, presentations. These can feel really awkward for learners, but they're so important for really truly internalizing skills. So if you're training your team on how to do certain things, give them practice exercises, have them role play with each other, practice conversations, do live coaching. Those things take time, but they absolutely reinforce the learning and they're critical. If you're a CS professional and you're needing to, you know, improve in a certain area, figure out ways that you can practice those things. Get with a peer, get with a coworker, get with your manager, and practice some of the things that you want to learn more about. And that will really help you feel stronger and more confident as you're going into 2026.
I love it. There's like a lot to unpack there. I'm going to go back to one of the first things you said. Well, because you said something which was interesting, and it was like, you know, you start using AI, right? Which we all obviously know that is important, and start learning it and and actually just practicing. I was thinking about this. What if your company doesn't have access to something? Like, what if you don't have tools? I'm curious if you think it is, well, I mean, obviously with permission, wise to try test stuff out in the market. Like, what, I don't know. I just thought about that as you were saying that, and I was like, what if you don't have access to a lot of things? What are some options potentially?
Well, I think if you don't have access to AI at work, you need to make it a priority to give yourself access to it outside of work because you need to learn about it one way or another. I'd say most organizations at this point, I think, have some sort of initiative around AI. They may not have given access to it to every single frontline employee in the company at this point, and that's because I think there's a little bit of lack of confidence in just rolling things out very broadly right now. But I think if you take the initiative to ask to be a part of that effort for your organization, that will also be an opportunity to learn a lot.
Oh, I love that. And that goes back to what kind of Elizabeth was saying. Maybe be the person to spearhead the initiative,
Yeah.
and then you can take on the learning for everybody. Okay, so I want to save some time for questions too. So I'm going to go to like our round robin group questions next. And so just for ease, we can stay in maybe the book order since that seems to work. What did you personally do, Swati? And if we could keep these answers short, because I want to do two of them. What did you do personally to level up your own skills in 2026? And we'll start with Swati and go around.
I mean, we co-wrote a book. Just kidding. Just kidding. I would say I feel like I've been working really hard to like ask better questions of my clients, like more business questions to really understand what's going on beyond just the talent side. And like there's just so much going on when it comes to like how the revenue is changing, like where their budgets are, where they're putting money, like, in the business, just to like understand that from a broader scale, because there hasn't been as much money for talent the last couple of years. And so when they are working with us, it's really like what's the business decision and the business initiative behind it. And so just making sure I'm understanding that so I can become smarter on that, I think has been really been my focus.
Love it. Nice. Elizabeth, what have you been doing?
I was waiting for you to answer first, Parl.
Oh gosh. Okay. I mean, I've been trying many AI tools, many, some of them failing for me. But one of the things I think is that's the hardest thing for me is I have like this certain bit of like fear with rogue AI. So I did have a tool that went rogue and like posted stuff on my social media and it wasn't really nice. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It wasn't very nice stuff. It was like very badly posted. And so I like turned it off. And I wrote an article about this recently. I just turned it off. I was like, I'll come back to this later. But I think the learning is going to be how to like live with it and manage it, just like an employee who may not always do everything perfectly, have to figure this part out. So now I'm like teaching myself like I need to go and reactivate and turn things back on. But yeah, I've been dabbling quite a bit with AI because I think for me it definitely helps as a business of one right now, one plus like contractors that I work with. It just helps with my efficiency a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I of course, I'm going to say AI too. I would say this year I spent more time on kind of the connectedness and automation, about how I can really use AI. Not as much into the agentic yet, but I've been working with a contractor actually to help. Time is finite, right? So but to help me do a lot of analysis, like for instance, you can take, all of the transcripts from our implementation calls, say, year to date, and kind of pull out trends and just like depending on what you want to know, right? Target it in a certain area. And I have 10 AI projects going right now. And the interesting thing that I've been thinking all year is that I can get so much insightful data, like truly to help make data-driven decisions at like the blink of an eye. or at least same day, right? Get the analysis back. And it's almost like I have such good information coming my way now that my human brain, that I have to, like, I need time then to figure out, what do I want to do next? How do I want to leverage this information? And so the pace of just the most amazing, you taking unstructured data and getting the most amazing insights like that. My mind is blown by what we have at our fingertips. But I do think that's I'm trying to, upskill and really determine how to leverage that information quickly and in the best way possible, which I think it's a whole new way of working. So it's been fun.
That's so cool. Love to hear that. Yeah, definitely. How do we adapt to the speed of AI, right? Like that's kind of the next question.
I don't like anything being faster than me.
And you're pretty fast too.
Oh, thank you.
Asia May, how about you?
Yeah, so the AI thing for sure. I guess it's a little meta for me. I sell AI as well. So I work for an AI company and we are not the most adopted. We actually have an internal debate right now on, we're very security focused considering we have to process and we store a lot of our customers' data. And so, there's a lot of sensitivity around a use case you just described, Elizabeth, right? Like porting customer conversations into AI. Like we do have enterprise versions of all of the LLMs, and there's still even a concern about that, right? So, how do we, loosen the reins a little bit so that, we can start to really test and learn more? Um, but I'm vibe coding, actually, vibe coding the Fit framework tool. I'm like 80% done. I just need to actually get people to start testing it. But we really want to start to deploy things to production, right? So I think, and we talk to our customers about this all the time, they want to stay in pilot mode. They're scared. And now I'm at the point where like I'm still in pilot mode and I need to just push myself to get it out there because you're really going to learn so much more when the thing is doing the thing it's intended to do, right? So I need to get my vibe coded experience out so folks can test it. But the other thing that's actually more foundational to me, and again, we coach our customers on this, is that AI is just a tool, but AI is only as good as the foundation, whether it's the data, but even beyond data, the context of what it needs to do. So I know I'm talking too long, but I'm doing a lot of documentation in terms of business logic and context so that our AI can get better and smarter, right? And our AI being the internal things that we're going to eventually test. So, putting a lot of things into like frameworks and codification so that, AI can consume it.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now for my client. It's like so important because otherwise it'll pick up something that you don't want. You got to give it the rules.
That's right.
Thank you, Julie, for joining. Okay, and Julie, you're next.
I'll go a different direction just since we've spoken a lot about AI and obviously that's huge, but 2025 was a very big growth year for me. I made a very like intentional decision to invest in myself, not just as a CS leader, but truly as more of like a business leader. I took multiple courses, actually including Kristen's program with Success League on like leading as a director. I took Pavilion's Chief Customer Officer School program. I actually right now, while I have a little bit of extra time on my hands, I'm doing through Pavilion and Winning by Design, I'm doing the Revenue Architecture program. It's something that I've known about and have followed for a little while, but I was like, I've got time, why not do it? But yeah, just taking the time to invest in myself. I think as leaders, it's easy to do that for our teams, but we still have to evolve and grow. And I think that's something that is also really strong for our teams to see that we're setting aside and taking the time to invest in ourselves.
Again, a mute issue. I love that because I do think learning is really, really an important, like even just like core skill learning, right? Is something that we often don't get time for. So it's really nice. I wrote down actually that you did some of these, kind of look into one of them. Kristen, what about you? What have you been learning?
I mean, AI for sure, but again, I don't want to repeat what everybody else has already said. We are looking at how we can incorporate that into our training offerings right now in a way that provides frameworks without getting too prescriptive, because I think every company is a little different. But the biggest learning for me this year was the book. I have never written a book or published a book before. I don't think any of us in our group had. And it was really exciting and really encouraging. And I am ready to write another book, I think. Um, Not maybe early 2026, but at some point in 2026. And I learned so much from that experience, and it was hard and it was wonderful and in equal measure, I think. Um, and it was this is a great group of people to have done that with.
Yes, I learned a lot having had done publishing before, but not even, and then this was next level. So that was a great
Yeah.
learn. Well, I wanted to see if anyone has any questions from the group. If anyone would like to ask any, I think we got one in the chat actually from Linda. Which AI tools do you suggest for beginners who would like to approach agentic AI and vibe coding? Elizabeth mentioned ChatGPT, and I do think ChatGPT also has just released like a new vibe coding tool. I just got, yeah, you guys, we probably all got that update. Any other recommendations? I'm seeing a couple in here already.
I'm hearing really good things about Claude, especially for writing tasks. Um, I haven't used it myself, but it is for artists and writers, I think, a better option than ChatGPT.
I think Claude came up in like the New York Times today as like the preferred tool for many executives as well as like a
Mhm.
operational management tool, which was interesting. I haven't used it myself.
I haven't yet, but I'm going to.
I need to learn. Deepak did some vibe coding. He's on this chat. He like vibe coded a website for us, which I was like, this is amazing. I did not know that I officially even know what vibe coding is. So I think that's going to be a learning area for me. I think I can guess, but I don't think I've got it down. Any other questions from the group? Oh, Google AI Studio. That's where you did it, right, Deepak? You did your vibe coding, I think, in Google AI Studio.
Yeah, I use Google AI Studio.
Yeah, yeah.
It's good for
Um,
agentic, for beginner friendly also.
oh,
Fully
nice.
text based.
What is vibe coding? Great question, Linda, because
Yeah,
I would like that answer in a way too.
Yeah, we talked
What
about, I
exactly?
know
Here's the
Swati and I
link.
talked about this. I mean, to me, it's just like you tell it the thing you want to do. So I'm also trying to vibe code my new website. So I like put in my resume, my LinkedIn profile, and like a few of like my speaking things and all of that. And I said, I want a professional website that highlights my, X, Y, and Z. And it started, and I also gave it an example or two of other people's like personal websites that I liked. And I said, I like this about this website. It's, just on one page. It's React, it's responsive on mobile. And it within 3 minutes built me a pretty bare bones personal website. So you just say the thing, or if I want to say, I want to build a meditation app. Here are some examples. Here's what I want it to do. Here's the features and functionality. You just tell it what you want it to do and it codes it. So that's how I describe it. It's just like written language that then translates into code.
Yeah, so I love that because Asia May was talking about this. And I'm like, oh my God, what is that? And then she described it. I was like, oh, I'm doing that. I'm like playing around with that. And so my biggest question is like, how do you keep up with the lingo? Like when did vibe coding like be named vibe coding and when did people start using it? Because I literally have no idea. Like where are people coming up with this language and then saying it and then like it just feels like everyone knows this now. I used it the other day, Asia May, after you did. And everyone's like, yeah. And I'm like, how did you know it was called vibe coding? Like I don't know.
I
I
mean,
think
I,
that's
I
my
work
biggest
for
issue.
I work for an AI company. But I mean a lot of the stuff is getting talked about like in the news in the New York Times, even LinkedIn, like the little LinkedIn news panel on the LinkedIn homepage, like has a lot of good stuff I like to reference. So yeah, it is hard to keep up with all the new lingo though.
I can't. I don't know. That's too hard.
Elizabeth has Rex for AI newsletters if anyone wants them. But no, I think that that's so interesting because I feel like yes, the lingo. I thought of vibe coding as like an app only. That's what I was thinking. So I've been also vibe coding for a long time. Who knew? Not doing an app though. I thought you had to build like a product to be vibe coding. Um, well, this was amazing, and hopefully everyone got some interesting nuggets and tidbits to really empower your 2026 and beyond. Thank you to my author crew for joining and allowing me to, kind of probe you a little bit and hear your thoughts, because it was really nice to kind of get that lens today. And for everyone else that is listening, obviously, we are really excited to have the authors here. We will be doing a little giveaway, but if you do, we'll also link the book in the YouTube notes so that you can find it there. I hope that everyone here has a wonderful December, end of year. If you celebrate holidays, if you just want to chill out and rest, like I want to do all the things. I wish you all a really wonderful end of year. And thank you again for joining.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. Happy holidays.